A question I often get when I teach workshops using Postgres is can I have or can you give us one concise area or lesson on getting data into Postgres? As we work through this class, I'm going to be showing you how to bring data in, but what I thought would be good is let's have one unit just devoted to different ways to get data into Postgres. And I want to show you three different tools that are free. One that's used directly in QGIS, one that's used with Postgres, and another one that's just another third-party application from GDAL. Well, here I'm connected in my Tompkins data, and what I want to do is put some data into Postgres. So I'm in my training in Tompkins directory. There's all kinds of data here. Let's go to the shape files. And why don't I take my TC roads? I'm just going to use, instead of roads UTM, let's go with just TC roads and the shapefile for that. And I'll grab this and just slide him in here. So now I have TC roads in our interface. So what I'm going to do is go to the Database Manager, and I'm going to open up Tompkins. You can see I have a lot of different ones here. We've talked about that before. And these are my different layers. So one of the things you can do is say, let me import a layer. So for me personally, this is one of the easiest ways to do that. So which one do I want to import? I can import any one of these. So let's go with TC roads. I can use only the selected features. And let's call this TCR, just as a table. And this is what's really nice. Here's my source coordinate system. So it's latitude and longitude. And then I can put in my target coordinate system. So for instance, I might say, I don't want to use that one. I want to go in and choose a different one. So UTM zone 18. So this is really nice. I don't even have to convert the data later on. On the fly, it will do this. You have options to say, let's replace the destination file. Here's another thing too. When you get shape files, especially, you'll have capital letters in the field names. And unfortunately, Postgres doesn't really like working with capital letters, so you can convert all the field names to lowercase. You can automatically create a spatial index. So let's go into Postgres for a moment, or actually pgadmin. And you can see there is no TCR here, right? So that doesn't exist. So let's go in our DB manager and let's hit OK. And we'll let this just run for a moment. That says the import was successful. We'll come back into pgadmin and let's do a refresh on our tables. And let's see what we have. And here's TCR. So that is now a layer that's inside of our database. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to issue this query. So select the STSRID. So this is the coordinate system for TCR. We'll run that. And you can see it's 32618. So we really did do a transformation of the coordinate system. So for me, I really like this because it lets me bring in multiple layers. For instance, I can click here and not just look at, say, the shape files that we looked at before, but you might want to bring in a KML file, and you'll be able to do that as well. So these are the municipalities, and it'll give us a new table name. We can also choose a SQLite database or others like that. So there's the opportunity to be able to bring that data in as well. So for me, this is my go-to tool, but ordinarily what I'll do is I'll go in and I will drag, let's go to the school districts real quickly. I'll drag the data in here. So here's my school districts, and then I can import a layer and we'll use the school districts, right? So that'll be the one that I'll use as well. So let's clear this out. So for me, again, that's my favorite tool for bringing data from the outside world into Postgres. There's another tool that if you have shape files, you can bring data in. So I'm in the C program files, Postgres. I'm using version 11, 11 bin, and then there's PostGIS GUI is the directory. So if I type PostGIS GUI and then type Shp2Pg SQL GUI.exe. I can run that. Now, the reason I'm running it from up above is there is a library that I need to be able to read. So if you dive into this directory and try to run it, it's not going to work. So I'll run this, and now we have our connection details. So I can say Postgres localhost, and remember I'm 5433. It's very likely you are 5432, and then Tompkins. I'll hit OK. So then I can add files. So I can come in and see training, Tompkins. There we go. And we go to shapefiles, and then I have TC Roads UTM. I can bring that in. Now, while this works, there's some options you should be aware of. So one is we can come in here and, again, create things like a spatial index when we're done. But you'll notice it doesn't know what the coordinate system is. So this is one where you're going to have to type it yourself. So that's that 32,600, whatever it is. For whatever reason, it didn't recognize it. Sometimes it does. I think it's dependent upon how the PRJ file is set up. So this is, and then you can click import. So I'm not going to bother doing it. So if you have shapefiles, that's a way to go. But again, I think the better option is using the database manager inside of QGIS. And finally, I'm in the QGIS 3.8 bin directory, and I can type OGR to OGR. People call it ogre to ogre. And let's do /p. There we go. So this is a command line that is offered through the GDAL libraries, a geographic library, that will let me bring data into any different format. This is, by the way, these are probably the tools that most of the GIS vendors are using anyway, because it's just so comprehensive. So I'm going to just paste something I wrote in. So here I'm saying let's use the ogre to ogre, and actually let me go into a different directory. Let's go to CD training Tompkins, and let's go to shapefiles. Here we go. So here are all my shapefiles, and now I'm going to type that command. So I've got my command path to go to ogre -F. So it's a file type. It's going to go to Postgres SQL. Then this is the connection string. Localhost, Postgres is the user, the database is Tompkins, the password is Postgres, and again my port is 5433. I'm going to use roads UTM, and I'll call that TCR. And before I do that, let's just delete this. Drop table TCR. Okay, that's done. And let's come back in here. So I'm going to run this. What's nice about this is you can do it in a batch format. So let's come back in, and we will refresh this. And as we do it, you'll see we have TCRD. So that is also loaded in. Again, this is if you look at the ogre to ogre command, and we'll go back through, you have the ability not just to send it a file, but there's all different kinds of things. You can put fields in there as well. You can even do some clipping based upon a geometric area. So there's some really advanced things you can do. You can set up the coordinate system. So here's the SRS, right? The spatial reference system. You can set what your geometry field name is. These are all, a lot of these are just defaults, but you can change them. So there's a lot of very granular detail you can get into when you move data in. So it's very nice for the programmer in you. But again, for us mere mortals, I really do like the DB Manager, and again, especially because it gives me so many options for changing field names and changing the coordinate system on the fly. But anyway, that should give you 3 good options for getting data from the outside into